What's up, everyone? Mark here at Funky Moose Records with another episode of What's in the Box. This is where I talk to our customers and give them an opportunity to show what they purchased recently. With me today, I have Jonah. Welcome, Jonah.
Welcome. Hello.
And let's dive into it. What was in the box?
Well, I got a box that finally arrived at my house. So, what is it? 3.5 weeks after I ordered it from you.
Yeah,
uh,
Canada Post. We're having a little bit of issues trying to locate you.
yeah, just a little. It's great. It came before Christmas, so I'm happy.
Yeah.
Very happy. Yeah, I got a small little package delivered, and keyword is small. But sometimes good things come in small packages. So I got a little bottle here. Don't know if you can see that there. The G2 fluid from GrooveWasher, and this is the 8 ounce refill bottle. And I think I average getting these about once a month or so from you, the equivalent. And it's amazing fluid. And I, like I say, go through about 8 ounces a month, and ran out a few weeks ago. And I've got a stack of new records I need to clean. So, like I said, I've been anxious for about 3 weeks. I've still got my Black Friday stuff to open and clean.
Yeah.
I'm anxiously awaiting that. I'm going to do that once I get off this call.
All right. So we'll keep it short, I guess.
Yeah. No worries. No
Okay,
worries.
so the bottle obviously is not that
Mhm.
interesting, but
No,
maybe we can talk
no.
about what you use it with and why this is such a great fluid.
Yeah, absolutely. So the reason why I got the GrooveWasher fluid is because obviously I like cleaning my records. I've been collecting, gosh, 35 years, and grew up with a variety of different fluids in the 80s. One of them being disc washer. And for those who don't know about GrooveWasher, it's a company based out of America. I think at one point they were based out of Florida. And they had been around for about 25, 30 years, give or take, creating a variety of different fluids. I've got a very last generation bottle here, the
Oh,
very, very last one. And there's still some fluid in there. I don't recommend this one because it's the D4 Plus, which the D4 and the D3 were considered to be the best fluids. And I think the D4 Plus was the last one that was made in the 90s, before the company was sold to, I think it was Ricotten or RCA, something like that.
RCA. Yep.
Um,
Yep.
yeah, it was RCA. And I've got the original box. This is great, but the original box that I bought at a store called A&B Sound, for those who remember back in the day.
Oh,
But it's got the original disc washer blonde brush, and it is the original one before Rick Houghton got involved. But the difference with this brush, as you can see, is the pad itself isn't directional, right? So you can go either which way, even though it's got the traditional arrow telling you
yep.
which way to pull it.
Hmm.
You can actually go back and forth. So I've had this particular brush going back to the 90s. It's still in pretty good condition. Um, but I didn't like the fluid. I stopped using cleaning fluids probably about 20 years ago, to be honest. A couple of years ago, a friend of mine got a spin clean. I offered to give him some of my records, try it out, because he wasn't confident using his records at first, and my records had been in storage. And I said, "Well, I need them clean, so go nuts." And I liked what they did, but I still wasn't personally satisfied with it because I grew up again with dishwasher and thought it was the bee's knees. That being said, I started doing research during COVID when I got back into my vinyl and discovered GrooveWasher through trying to find a new substitute for the original disc washer. And lo and behold, found out the folks behind disc washer came up with this stuff, and it's fabulous. And you know what? I'm going to be personally honest with you. It's better than the original fluid. It's better than the D3. It's better than the D4. What it does to the record itself, like, it doesn't leave anything behind. Like, absolutely. And I'm anal about it. I will spend 10, 20 minutes on a record manually with a brush and with a fiber cloth, going over it because I like to say I'm anal. I can see right in those grooves. I can see little bits of paper or dust and all of those things. And some people overlook that. And your record should be silent. And I can say the GrooveWasher does that. But that being said, one of the packages I bought from you, I think it was in the spring, was this bad boy, and I still got the box for it. But I bought this because I tried the fluid because I wanted to see what it was like, and I liked the fluid, so I bought this because this is a great deal for what you were selling it for. I think it was under $30 if I recall.
Yeah, from the top of my head, it's $24.95.
It's even cheaper. It was. I laughed at that. I was like, "Are you kidding? That's insane. That's amazing." And what you get out of it, the main reason why I got it was for the additional fluid, of course. But you get the Stylus brush, which I think alone is worth the money. Honestly, it has served me well. The fibers on this are, I mean, it's soft. It's like butter. This will not take your Stylus off. I've yet to come across a Stylus brush for under $50. That's as good as this, honestly. So that in and of itself was amazing. But you also got Stylus cleaning fluid to go with it. Now, some people will say it's a good thing or a bad thing to use Stylus fluid. It's honestly, in my experience, it's dependent on your stylus. I wouldn't use it on an orthophone myself, but I'm comfortable using it on Sures. I'm comfortable using it on Stanleys. Again, be careful, do your research. But I do recommend this fluid as well. It is absolutely amazing. But the other good thing that comes in this package, if you can't get one of these brushes, either the original disc washer or the GrooveWasher, which makes a replicant brush, and I believe the pad is interchangeable, no?
It does, yeah. Yeah, you can take it off, yeah.
Right. So I don't have the new GrooveWasher brush, which by the looks of it looks like the blonde one, but with the detach.
We're gonna have to change that, I guess.
I think so. So in the new year, once I sell some more records, that's on my purchase list. I'm going to get the actual display unit and everything, because it's just beautiful, and it's solid wood. It's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to degrade. I mean, this one, is 30 something years old. It's still mint. Yeah. Now you can see many videos about cleaning. There's many different ways to do it. My personal way is to take my time. I soak the record, almost like giving it a bath and a spin clean. I put 5 or 6 squirts from one of the spray bottles. And what's great about the G2 series is you do get the different attachments. So you get a spray bottle attachment. You also get the little, where is it here? Got it in the bag.
The little flip,
the little nozzle.
Yeah,
yeah, which is great for the old schoolers who, especially with new records, you don't need a lot of fluid, so you just put it lightly on the edge of your brush. But for soiled records that have fingerprints, oil, that kind of thing, majority of used records, they need a good bath, right? So 6 to 8 spritz for me. I try to be over generous on it. And I use a spare turntable that I don't use just in case I get fluid anywhere. But I've read the engineer who created this. He had a couple of posts. I think it was on Audio Karma when he was doing his GoFundMe for this, and I saw his replies about how you could actually clean turntables with this. I don't know if I would.
Yeah.
But if you're saying it's possible, then it's not going to harm your records.
That's right.
And it's not going to harm your stylus.
Yeah.
And the emulsifier that's in here, because there is an emulsifier in here, kind of like photo finishing fluid. Mm-hmm. It works really, really well. Like the water, or not the water, but the fluid doesn't beat up like most fluid does. Doesn't run off the record, even if you let it sit on your record and rotate on a turntable with the fluid on, and you watch the fluid, it stays.
Yeah.
The fact that it stays means it's going into the grooves.
Yeah. I actually sorry to interrupt, but I actually like the fact that when you spray it on there, you can see that it's moving around in the grooves. Mm-hmm. Just you can see it soak in. That's very satisfying. Yes. And then once it kind of stopped, then you start washing your record, and then it's clean.
You know, it's absolutely clean, and it's a great, like I said, it's a great fluid. Now, regardless of what kind of brushes you're using, the fluid itself helps. I
Yep.
mean, the dishwasher brushes, that's just what I grew up with, and you can still get them on eBay for about 20-30 bucks, right? But the GrooveWasher one is no different from what
Right.
I've heard, and
But
all the testimony.
the dishwasher ones that you buy now are produced in China now,
Yes,
and
no, I know, and
the
I
GrooveWasher
don't
ones,
trust them.
the GrooveWasher
Uh,
ones are made in
yeah,
Kansas.
they're made in Kansas, so might as well be locally sourced, right? They're
Yep.
coming from Kansas redwood, so I'm
Yep.
sure, or Kansas cedar. But if
It's walnut, but whatever.
it's walnut, yeah, okay, it's a wood, it's a wood.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what's handy though too is in this small little kit, which I call it the starter kit, basically. You also do get one of these little pad brushes, which is basically like an equivalent of a brush, but minus the wood handle.
Yep.
It's a lot lighter, so if you're afraid of dropping it, which does happen,
It
so I will
happens.
warn that
Yep.
these are heavy. I've dinged records and swore for sure it's
Yep.
happened. I'm not the only one. And if you get dust caught in here or little bits of granule particulate, you will drag that into your grooves and you will see it. Trust me. I've also seen that. So if you want to avoid those kind of worrisome stuff, you get the nice little foam padding with the microfiber cloth, which I've used a few times. Usually, when I'm just doing a quick clean in the living room and I'm not doing something that requires me to scrub the record. But I will also mention this. I got this I can't remember what package it was. I think it was just the spray bottle. And then it came with the microfiber cloth. And it came in a really nice bag as well to store the microfiber cloth. And I use this cloth after every clean with the brush, after I let it air dry for, a good solid 30 seconds. And like I say, I spend about 5 to 10, sometimes longer, 10 minutes, sometimes 2 rounds with one of these. I'll wait, and then I'll actually use this as a spot clean to go over with my halogen lamp right over the grooves. And I'm looking for little bits of, debris, dust, because still things will get caught in the grooves after a clean.
Mm-hmm.
And you can lightly get those out and just give it a nice polish. If there's any little bit of residue left, which can happen in the dead wax, you can polish it off. And it's a great process, but it's time consuming, at least for me. I've got OCD, so
Yeah. I use a GrooveWasher myself. I don't take 5 minutes to to wash a record.
no,
For me, it's really I also have a vacuum cleaner. So
right,
if I want to do a deep clean, I'll use both my
use that.
GrooveWasher
Yes,
and the vacuum. But usually it's a quick spray. Make sure it's nice and dry after the brush,
mm-hmm.
and then I play it. So for me it takes about, I don't know, 2 minutes per record.
Right,
Because
right.
I'm also impatient. So if I have a record in my hand, I want to play it.
Yeah, you want to play it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I hear you. Well, part of the problem for me is I had like I said, my friend had a spin clean, and so I've been borrowing it from him periodically, and I've got
Yep.
somebody who's also got an ultrasonic as well. So if I do have the odd record that really needs something, I'll give it to him. And London Drugs now actually provides ultrasonic cleaning, which is interesting. Here's a neat little thing I'll tell you and your listeners. Doing a clean, and if you play it back and you still got a bit of surface noise, pops, ticks. It's not scratches, but it sounds poppy. A good way to get rid of that, doesn't work all the time, but it works, I'd say 60, 70% of the time. Do a quick playthrough, maybe once or twice on 45. And don't listen to it because it's chipmunks. And it sounds ridiculous, but what you're doing is you're speeding up the process of playing that whole side through. So you're not doing it for the 25 minutes, you're doing it for 7 or 10. But it also increases, apparently, some people have said, it increases the friction. That's still to be determined. But what I've noticed is it does get rid of a lot of those pops and ticks, those errant things, because even after a good deep clean with a dirty 70s record or 60s record, sometimes it'll still have some errant noise. And I've discovered I've got a Herbie Hancock record that I must have cleaned about 6 or 7 times. And it sounds okay at the louder parts, but the quiet portions it's destroyed. just sounds terrible. It sounds like a beat up 78, but there's no marks on the record. The record looks mint. So I gave it a couple more cleans using just the GrooveWasher and spending some time on it and giving it a 45 play and then another clean, another 45 play, and then another clean, another 45 play, and then played it again on 33. Almost perfect. I crap you not. Like I was amazed.
I wonder if the speed just dislodges the stuff that's in the groove.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. And again, depending on styluses, I mean, we could go on a technical conversation with this for hours, but depending on styluses and how they rest in the groove, it's all dependent on how the surface noise gets presented to you. And a lot of that surface noise actually isn't in the groove. A lot of those pops and ticks aren't in the groove. Right. It's on the actual record. So if you've got a good enough stylus that just goes into the groove, you're not going to hear those pops and ticks. Mm-hmm. But you can still alleviate it if you've got a good enough stylus. Now, I wouldn't recommend, holding the cartridge down. I've seen that technique as well.
Yeah, just
I've also done that.
Put $1 on top. Yeah.
Put $1. Yeah. I mean, it can work. I don't recommend it. You do get groove wear. You get marks in your record. You'll destroy your cartridge. All of that. No. And like I say, it's not. You could spend 2 minutes on a record. You could spend 20 minutes on a record. It's all about your own OCD level and how revealing your system is too. Like I said, there's a lot of science that's involved. So, but as a cleaning solution, I trust it.
Yeah, and I think on average, I think you're on the well, I don't know if it's a side, but you're more on the careful side, and you're cleaning a little bit extra. You're cleaning more than the average person, I think.
Yes, I would think so.
And there's nothing wrong with that. And if you're the person that doesn't want to clean your records all the time, a GrooveWasher with just a quick wipe will do, as long as you're happy with the sound that comes out. That's all that matters, right?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. I've run into a lot of folks actually on your site in the past few months, as well as a couple of other vinyl sites who are looking for cost solutions for cleaning records and alternatives to things like spin clean, because they don't want the full apparatus and they don't have the money and the time that it takes, and they just want something casual. And I've repeatedly have sent people your way to purchase the product, because I think up until recently your organization was the only place you could buy GrooveWasher in Canada. Hence, that's how we met. Because I was like, where do I buy this in Canada? And you had it. So,
all right. Well, thank you very much for showing what's in the box and all the background behind how you clean your records. That was fantastic. So, thanks for joining me, and we'll see you in the next one, I guess.